back to the Fox Robbins Business Show. This show is all about developing your business. And I am Bill Fox, your host, and the co-host for the show is Cliff Robbins.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Well, it's good to see you now. Cliff, you know, we understand that now that we have you on TV, you need a new name.
I do. I've given myself a new name, Ra. It's to go in line with the Cliff part of my name. I'm asking people to call me Cliff Rock Robbins
Cliff
now
Rock
that I'm
Robbins.
a TV star.
I also understand you demanded your own dressing room with a star on the door.
Yes, and makeup. Because God knows I could use some
right.
makeup. God knows I could use some.
This show focuses on starting new businesses and developing existing businesses that can attract and hold top-notch workforce talent with meaningful and higher-paying job opportunities, the key to the future. In the previous show, we talked about a starting point, a logical starting point in our thinking, which, Cliff, there was an economic summit last fall, which you and I thought was key. And a lot of issues were discussed at that summit, but one of them was this idea of developing meaningful, higher-paying job opportunities for young people.
Yes, exactly, and that's what you were calling the economic engine that will help the southeastern Mass economic situation to provide jobs so that people can come here, live here, and make a good wage, and that's what we really need for this area.
We need to think about that hard.
Absolutely.
Well, that's why you and I decided to create an open forum.
Yes.
To help people start businesses and grow existing businesses using sound business principles. Certainly starting profitable businesses is a key. For one thing, starting a business in a community, that business is likely to stay in the community. But we do not ignore existing business by any means, Cliff, both profit and not-for-profit businesses. They need to operate efficiently. They need to grow profitably. They need to use the latest technology, the best practices in marketing, administration, and financing. You'd agree with that?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter if a company is chartered as a for-profit business or a non-profit business. Everybody who runs a business has to be entrepreneurial in their thinking. They have to use sound business practices. They have to do the marketing. We're going to talk a lot about that.
And a key to your thinking these days that you have talked to me a lot about is this idea that the world is flat. We've borrowed that, of course, from the famous author Thomas Friedman, New York Times author, commentator, who is credited. I mean, we have to give credit where credit's due, and he issued a book saying that today the world is flat, Cliff, and you like that idea.
I love the idea. As I said to you, my expression was that technology has taken geography out of the equation to some degree. And Mr. Friedman's book really made a great case for the fact that companies can do business anywhere in the world, no matter where they're located.
Well, then businesses must take advantage of the latest marketing technique, product innovation, ideas, new modes of delivery of goods and services, and above all, the use of the internet technology, which is one of your favorites. And businesses must not be afraid of new technology. They must think about it, understand it, live with it, and use it to their best advantage. And I'm sure you would agree with that too.
If they don't, they're going to be at a competitive disadvantage to the companies that are utilizing technology, because those companies are going to be very efficient, very effective, and quite frankly, they'll be very successful.
Now, innovation in business begins with ideas and with discussion, and that is where the Fox Robbins Business Show comes in. Now, in the last show, we introduced a topic. The topic is, so you want to start a business? And so we began to explore that, and we will continue that discussion in this show. But first, just before we get to that, Cliff, I want to reintroduce a very special feature of this show going forward, which is something called Cliff's Notes. Now, Cliff is a senior business advisor with the Massachusetts Small Business Development Center Network. Cliff, that's a big title. That's a huge title.
It's a big title, and being very interested in branding and creating brand identity. I complain all the time that the people in Washington haven't given us all of those letters and names, really put us at a great disadvantage as far as branding. It took me 3 years with the company before I could even put the letters in the right order.
But you're perfect in that environment because you started your own businesses, and now you turn that to advising people who want to do the same. And I've heard you say that you've probably, up to this point, have probably advised somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 people. It sounds impossible, but is that true?
That is true. As a matter of fact, I've been with the MSBDC. See, I can do it now.
That's good.
And I've been with the company for almost 7 years now, and I see in the area of 250 to 300 people a year who either A, want to start a small business, or as a matter of fact, more than half of the people I see today are people who are in their own small business and really want to make it more successful, to grow it, profitably grow it. And I deal with a lot of people that are trying to do that. So
that's super.
Yeah.
Well, to see, that's the point, is that Cliff is constantly on the move. He's a moving target, and he's always meeting new people, advising, discussing, hearing new ideas, and so forth. And he's has become very knowledgeable about the business scene in New England in general and Massachusetts in specific. So Cliff's Notes is a chance for us to get the latest thoughts and information from your experience. So what have you got for us today?
Well, today I've got something that's right in line with my new Hollywood name, Rock.
Rock Robbins.
As I explained to you, Bill, if it isn't fun, I'm not going, right?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
This is fun.
Right.
Plymouth Rock Studios. I'm sure some of you have heard something about Plymouth Rock Studios. We're calling it Hollywood East. Yes, it's pretty much a done deal now. There's going to be a Hollywood studio in Plymouth. It's going to be a green studio. They're going to put it in the woods of Plymouth, and there's going to be sound stages there. Excuse me, there's going to be an educational institution there that's going to help people that want to learn how to make movies. And there's a lot of technology in making movies today, as you probably know. If you've seen some of the latest movies, you really understand how.
Called 4-star hotel.
There's going to be a 4-star hotel on that property.
Shops, restaurants.
Retail, restaurants, everything. And as I say, the focus of it is it's going to be green. They're going to minimize the human footprint. That's the best way that I had green. You know, a lot of people talking green. What's green besides Kermit the Frog? I mean, what's green really mean? And green means to reduce the human footprint. And they're going to do that. And yet there's going to be a multi-million-dollar, they're going to invest $450 million is the last number that I got from Dennis Hanks, the CEO of the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce. $450 million is going to be invested. And they're going to be creating up there not only good paying jobs, but they're going to be creating a demand for doing business with a lot of small businesses in the area that will be suppliers to this studio. So
one thing is, Cliff, it just popped into my mind, but I'm reminded that I think they've actually been moving the start date, or a possible start date, forward aggressively.
Yeah.
From they were talking originally about like 2011, now talking 2010, which is only 2 years away.
that's not the start date, that's a finish date.
Finished.
Yeah, they were looking to do it over a 3-year period, to complete the process over 3 years, and they're going to move it up to 2 years. You know, they're being very aggressive with this thing, and they're being very cooperative with all the authorities, with the Plymouth Chamber, with the folks in Plymouth, and they're doing it, as I say, in such a way that it really has a very low impact on the beauty of the Plymouth area, particularly the South Plymouth area. It's a beautiful green area, and they've got it in their mind. They want to build the studio the right way, and they're going to create some high-paying jobs.
Saying that the viewers who want to take advantage of this need to get moving now, not lie in the hammock and sip lemonade.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so thank you, Cliff, and that's going to be very important for the area. The body of the show today is, so you want to start a business.
We're back to that, yeah.
Yes, we're back to that, and that's vital, because on that last show, we said that you have started your own businesses, you're advising others, and over that over that span of time and that body of experience of yours, you have developed something called Cliff's Top 10 Rules for Starting a Business.
Right.
You've distilled it down like fine wine or fine liquor or something like this.
Yeah, after reading close to 700 or 800 books on business, I said, maybe I can put this into 10 real simple rules.
Right.
I'm a simple guy.
Right. And starting with rule number 1, which is really my favorite, and it's the very best one, which is above all else, don't fool yourself. And we discussed that last time, and also we got into rule number 2, which is the idea think flat, which means you're starting a business, make the world your market, broaden your horizon. And you made some comments about that, Cliff, last time.
Yeah, and when I say the world, I don't mean the United Kingdom only. I don't rule the United Kingdom out, but I'm talking about if you're going to do business here in southeastern Massachusetts, if you're going to establish a business here in southeastern Massachusetts, there's no reason why you can't do business with people in Michigan, Poughkeepsie, New York, California, all over this country, all over the world, because technology allows you to do that. So Mr. Friedman has explained, think flat. Think the world is flat. There's a level playing field. You can compete with any other company if you do follow sound business principles.
All right, so that rule 2 is vital to the thinking of today, and which moves us on now, Cliff, to your rule number 3, which is that technology is critical. And can you explain to us what you had in mind when you gave me that rule?
Well, actually, it's almost a corollary to rule 2, and that is the world is flat, and it's flat. It's been flattened because of technology. That technology is critical to any business today, and it's critical in many different areas. It's not just critical in the marketing piece for your business. What technology allows you to do in many areas is make your business efficient and effective. And those, we're always talking in the business training in university level and in my counseling and my consulting job, that I'm always talking, let's be efficient, let's be effective. Technology helps you do that. I'm always talking about the importance of keeping records. Technology is available to allow you as a small business person to keep accurate records of sales and receipts and depreciation and tax benefits. You really have to keep good records or you can't possibly manage the business. Those records allow you to make decisions about your business and where you want to take your business. And it's not just record keeping. It's not just about the fact that you can utilize technology to be efficient and effective. You utilize technology certainly to market your business. The website is sacrosanct. If anybody says to me, do I need a website? My answer is always yes. You need to have a website. You need a web presence because people don't use the yellow pages anymore when they're looking for a business, even if they know your name. And I'm not talking about Cheers, folks, right? I'm talking even if they know the name of your company and they want your phone number, they're going to go online, they're going to Google your name, and they want your website to come up so that they can contact you. So it's a tremendous communication piece. It's a tremendous piece for record keeping, and it allows you as a small company to compete with some very much larger companies that are out there.
Okay. And rule number 4, going on to rule 4, Cliff, this is as vital. Money is the milk of the business, mother's milk. Mm-hmm. Everybody would agree with that, but your issue is you gotta go find that money, and that money may be in your community, it may not, but don't be afraid. Mm-hmm. Don't be daunted by that. But focus on what your strategy is going to be. Go find the money, and you've advised so many people about this. Tell us what you tell aspiring business people.
Well, the first thing I tell them is you got to look to the 4 F's of finance, and the 4 F's are money has to come from the people that are starting the business. In other words, the founders. That's the first F. The second one that you can look to get money, because without money you can't start or run a small business. You just can't do it. It takes money to build, to start and grow a small business. How much is a matter that requires a lot more talk than this show is available to you for. So first is the founder. Second is friends. You can look to friends to invest in your company. You can look to the family. You can look to your family. So that's the third F. So it's founders, friends, family, and the fourth F is fools. Some people are foolish enough to believe in your idea and willing to take a risk and back you, and that's actually a wonderful thing. So we look to the four F's for the first place that you're going to look for money. The second place you're going to look, actually one of two choices would be either to go borrow the money, which is a debt instrument, which means go to a lender and borrow the money and start your business with that money. You're going to have to put up some money yourself anyway. Nobody is going to loan you 100% of the money to start your business. You're going to have to come up with 20 or 25% and show that you're serious about your small business, and then borrow the rest. You can borrow it from a lender. And that lender may not be the bank right behind your business. It may be a bank that's in Boston. It may be a bank in New York. It may be somewhere else. The other issue that we talk about when it comes to finding money for a small business is in the area of equity. In other words, giving up a piece of the business. Certainly businesses that have large growth potential, they're out there looking for big numbers, and they're looking from what we call angels and venture capitalists. Angels are out there looking for deals. These are usually people that were already successful in business, and they want to get back involved with businesses they think have real growth potential, and they're out there and they're looking for you, and you should be looking for them. And if you've got a business that meets their criteria, and that too is another whole show, if they believe in you and they're willing to put up some money, then that's a great area to go and get the funding you need to grow that small business.
There's plenty of risk that you have to face. I mean, if you borrow money, you have to pay that money back.
Yeah, they're funny like that. When people loan you money, they want it back. I don't know.
Yeah, they want it back for some strange reason.
Usually want interest or
That's
something
true.
too. Yeah.
And however, if you give up a piece of the company, you are letting the camel get his nose in the tent, because that means that someone now has a not only a financial stake, but it may be a say in what's going on with that business. And that I don't say that's a bad thing.
No.
It is, but it introduces a business risk that you have to look at seriously.
Yep. Yeah. When you're borrowing or taking in a partner, when you borrow money, there's a risk. And entrepreneurs, they're not riverboat gamblers, as you've said so many times, but they're people who are very, very cognizant of the risks they're about to face. But one of the most important constructs of somebody who starts a small business is what they have what's known as an internal locus of control. In other words, they have faith. They have a belief that they can do this and they're going to make it successful. One way or another, they're going to be successful with this business, and they really believe it. And a lot of times, obviously, they really do it.
Cliff, people in your experience, people trying to start a business ask for too little or too much or just the right amount of money?
Hardly ever the right amount of money, because it's so hard to predict how much money it's going to take. Certainly that's part of the importance of planning your business, writing a business plan, sitting down and trying to figure out what the right amount of money that you're going to need to start and operate your business for the next year or two, and where are the funds going to come from. That's something that is determined through the process of writing a business plan. And whether you take on it as debt. Debt, of course, is risky because, as you said, people expect you to pay it back. Banks are funny like that. When they loan you money, they want you to pay it back. And so there's a risk to that, because that payment has to be made every month, and that's part of the importance of planning cash flow, which comes later in a subsequent show. And the equity piece is where you're giving up a piece of the business, and certainly if that business is successful, the person that takes that equity stands to gain quite nicely. Now, you also mentioned that a lot of times people will put money into a business and want to have a say in how that business is operated. And that's not always a bad thing. As a matter of fact, a lot of times that can be a good thing, particularly if the person that's going to put money into your business, that's going to own a piece of the business, it's what we call smart money, quite frankly, that they're going to come in, they've got experience, and they can actually be mentors and guides and really give you a leg up on being successful with that small business.
Okay. Well, we should explore this in much greater depth. There's a lot more to say about raising money, of course, and we could cover that in subsequent shows.
It'd take several shows just to cover the business planning process, the raising of money, the things you have to go through to get the money and to continue to get money in the business to continue. It takes money to grow a business.
Right.
There's very few businesses on this planet that can start and grow without money.
And
it
self-finance or whatever.
Yeah, it's almost impossible. The profit margins would have to be enormous. Right. So you have to plan for the growth. Otherwise, you'll choke yourself off.
Right. Okay. Rule number 5, Cliff's rule number 5. And I have heard you say this over and over and over again. I mean, it's drilled into my mind, drilled in.
Good, I'm glad.
Which is, you must, when you're thinking about starting a business, you must create and retain a customer.
Absolutely. This one I stole from a brilliant man by the name of Peter Drucker, who's been writing business books for better than 50 years. And he asks the question, what's the single most important objective of your business? Any business. And I've asked this questions at many of the seminars that I do, and certainly in the classes I teach at the university. And I say, what is the single most important purpose of your business? I've heard everything. I've heard make money. A lot of bankers tell me make money, and I say with all due respect, no. I didn't say it's not important for you to make money. I said it's not the first objective of your business. You already know what the first objective of your business is. It's to create a customer. And you have a vision for something that you'd like to do, something you'd like to sell, something you feel passionate about. But your primary objective is to create a customer, because that's how you're going to be successful with your small businesses, by creating and retaining a customer. Creating a customer can be expensive. It can cost a lot of money in advertising and selling and promotion and getting the products and handling the products, and it's very expensive to go out and get new customers. It's a lot less expensive to keep the customers you have doing business with you. I don't want people thinking about the one-time transaction that they're going to have with the customer. I want them thinking about the lifetime value that customer is going to provide to your company and treating those customers right. We've heard it 1,000, 100,000 times. The customer is always right. It's the truth, because the customer is the one that votes you in and out of business. And when customers come back and continue to do business with you, it costs you 9 or 10 times more money to get a new customer than it does to keep an old customer happy. So, and especially in today's economy, one of the key issues that we talk about when we talk to businesses about doing better in a down economy, do more with the customers you've already got.
Cliff, if only you had a nickel for every time someone started a business and said, I got the greatest product. I was reminding you one time about the movie with Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams, and the voice said, just build it and they will come. You create this product and say, this is the greatest thing, a great mousetrap or whatever it is, and the customers will show up. You did not create a customer. You created a product.
Yep.
Or you created a service.
Right.
You did not necessarily create a customer.
No, what you're talking about is really a very important issue, that to go out and to create a customer, to create or find a market for your product is what we're talking about. The expression, you used it just now, build a better mousetrap and the world will beat a path to your door. Wrong. It's not going to beat a path to your door. There are 100 different good mousetraps out there, and there's this thing in the market today called marketing clutter. Everybody's out there touting their new mousetrap, that it's better than the other guy's mousetrap. Without a good marketing plan, without a good sales plan, without a good promotional plan, if you build a better mousetrap and you don't create customers and you don't market this thing right and you're not innovative in the things you're doing, you've created a better mousetrap, but you know what you've got on your hands? You've got a warehouse full of mousetraps, because the world is not going to beat a path to your door. There are hundreds of great mousetraps out there in today's world. You have to create and execute a marketing plan and make the world understand that yours is truly the best mousetrap, and then they'll beat a path to your door.
Right. Well, what you were going to do, in your brilliance, you said, I'm going to make cakes and sell them in this community. Turns out that the greatest demographic in your community is diabetic.
Yeah, right. And what do you do then? Then that's called a misalignment.
You say, oh no, wait a minute, I make a great cake.
Good, and the diabetics can't use it, right?
Yeah, right.
Too bad.
So
Wrong
think about
target,
the greeter
misalignment,
customer.
right.
And you know what? One thing that you were right about is there's no end of mousetraps, or great mousetraps. And matter of fact, one time I got into doing some research on large companies such as GE. They are always they have employees by the thousands, and they're always creating ideas, whether it be a product or a service. Those products and services are actually documented. You can go look them up, and they're some of the greatest sounding product ideas you ever heard in your life. And I researched this at one point, but it dawned on me that point. That's why later on, when you told me, you said there's no lack of mousetraps, and you know you're dead right about that. And the issue goes back again. Marketing is find and create that customer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once you have that customer, retain that customer.
You better, because that's going to be the key to the success of your business.
And so we're gonna stop at that point, and we're gonna pick up the rest of Cliff's rules in subsequent shows, and we're gonna wrap it up today. And I'd like to say thank you very much for watching the Fox Robbins Business Show today. This show was all about starting and developing your business. We have been discussing Cliff's top 10 rules for starting a business. Now, if you missed some of this show or any previous shows, please go to www.capemedia.org. Can you say that fast, Cliff?
www.
That's one word, CAPEMEDIA.org.
Right.
Review all shows. And if you have any questions or comments, please go to our website, which is foxrobbins@gmail.com. And thank you very much to our director, David Major, and all the folks at Cape Cod Community Media Center. And we will see you next time.